March Madness is over. Didn't affect anybody's draft positions.
Go, Sparks, go, 'cause the Giants stay.
What is up, NBA fans? Shout out to my San Antonio Spurs fans. Welcome to TSR Sports. First off, congratulations to the Florida Gators who beat the Houston Cougars last night to win the NCAA tournament. It was a heck of a game. And you know what? Let's get into the mock draft from ESPN. I will be coming this from the point of view as a Spurs fan, clearly, but I obviously want to see what they're saying other teams are doing as well. And starting off, pick number 1, no shocker here, Cooper Flagg to the Utah Jazz. And I gotta say, I normally don't root against teams to fall in the lottery. I think I might be on this one. The Utah Jazz have been blatantly and obviously tanking to get the highest pick. So I'd be quite happy if they got knocked down a little bit there. So no surprises, Cooper Flagg, number 2 overall. Moving right along. Number 2, the Washington Wizards take Dylan Harper. This has been kind of the consensus for, months. Cooper Flagg, number 1. Dylan Harper, number 2. Nothing has changed here. Number 3, the Charlotte Hornets take Ace Bailey. Again, right on cue. Ace Bailey's been projected to go 3 in a lot of mock drafts. So right now, no surprises. The New Orleans Pelicans take VJ Edgecombe. Okay, we're still in status quo here, guys. And I know I'm blowing through this, but this is what we've been seeing for weeks, for months on end, is this is generally how the draft is going to play out. With that being said, of course, teams may move up in the lottery, which could totally change this. Moving right along. The Philadelphia Sixers take Trey Johnson out of Texas. I'm not sure if I've seen him mocked to them a lot. Drawing a blank. Brooklyn Nets. Now, Jeremiah Fears, I have seen mocked usually, around 9 or 10, somewhere between 9 and 11. So seeing Fears go 6 per ESPN to the Brooklyn Nets, a little bit of a shocker. But I also saw him higher up earlier in the college season. So, okay, all right. I mean, the Nets are in a full rebuild. It'll be interesting to see what the Nets do in the offseason, if they're going to unload players like Cam Johnson and just really hit the hard reset button. Keep an eye on the Nets. All right, up next, the Toronto Raptors take Kaman Malawach out of Duke. All right, so we have to take a pause here. I don't want to talk anything political, but I have to put it out there because it's in the universe. If you're not aware, there are reports that Malawach could possibly get deported from the United States. If those reports are still running rampant at the time of the draft, that could hurt his draft position. If he's not in the country at the time of the draft, then he probably doesn't get, I would think, not drafted at all, or it would severely his draft position. So that's all I want to say on that, but it's out there, and it could severely affect his draft position, so best of luck to him. Raptors taking Malawach. What's that mean with Jakob Poeltl? Is he still under contract? Did he move on from Jakob Poeltl? I don't like the Raptors taking him. All right, up next, my San Antonio Spurs, and this is not a shocker at all. We've done quite a few mock drafts. I've watched a few mock drafts. I've read a few mock drafts, and every single one pretty much has the San Antonio Spurs taking Conn Knippel 8th overall. The Spurs need shooting. They need size as well, but they've been one of the worst three-point shooting teams the last, 5-6 years, constantly in the bottom 5. So Knippel seems like the guy for the Spurs. We'll see if that changes, but I'm going into this draft thinking, unless we move up from 8, that's going to be our guy. Let's keep moving on with the first round. I'm just seeing where Clayton went, because Clayton for Florida, had 2 back-to-back 30-point games, and last night really struggled. I don't believe he scored in the first half. This is for the first round only, so I'm curious to see if he is still in the first round. Kasparis, Jackie Shionis, I always mess up his name, but Portland at number 9. Okay. And the Houston Rockets, man, the Houston Rockets, one of the best teams in the Western Conference, getting picked number 10 because of the Phoenix Suns absolutely sucking. Take Colin Murray Boyles. To get a lottery pick and be that good of a team that's kind of frightening. What's even more frightening, and I've talked about this before on the channel, is that the Philadelphia 76ers drop to number 7 or worse. That pick goes to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Speaking of teams that are the best in the Western Conference and possibly getting a lottery pick. The Miami Heat take Derek Queen. That's pretty much what we've seen Queen mocked, right around between 10 to 12, so no surprise here. Moving right along. The Chicago Bulls, Igor Demin at 12. Dallas Mavericks, Liam McNeely. That's actually the highest I've seen McNeely mocked in a bit. Usually he's going somewhere around 15, 16-ish. Not that that's a huge jump up, but the Mavericks take him at 13, which would be a heartbreaker. I've talked about this on the channel before. My girlfriend is a huge UConn fan. If a UConn player went to an in-state rival, an in-conference rival, well, I guess on one hand it would suck because he's going to the opposition, but on the other hand, when we watch the Spurs play the Mavericks, now there's UConn on UConn violence, as you like to say, or UConn on UConn crime. The Atlanta Hawks are going to take Jose Richardson at 14, and now we're out of the lottery. And right now they have the Spurs picking at 15th. This could all change. The season's not over. We don't know where the Atlanta Hawks are going to finish, but right now it's about 15. And they have us taking Joe Behringer. Okay, I've seen him mock to the Spurs a little bit. I wouldn't be upset with this if it happened. We'll see. Let's finish up the first round. I'll kind of go through these quick. Orlando Magic take Will Riley. The Minnesota Timberwolves take Noah Essengiu. Now, this is a player that I've seen mocked to the Spurs a few times, and a few Spurs fans have said they want him. Again, we'll see. Because everything we're looking at right now, one thing to always keep in mind, this could totally change. It probably will. There's been so many times, I'm sure, as an NBA fan yourself, where your team's drafted a player and you're like, what? Huh? As a Spurs fan, 2021 and 2022 come to mind. In 2021, the Spurs shocked the world by drafting drafting Joshua Primo, number 12 overall, when he was projected to go somewhere in the mid-20s. And then the next year, they took Jeremy Sohan at 9, which we kind of thought would happen, but Jalen Duren's on the board, so you just never know what your team's going to do. You're sitting there, you're watching a draft, you're like, our guy's available. You're going to not draft him. So I would not be shocked if a lot of this is completely inaccurate, because it almost usually is. But I like doing these because it just gives you an idea where your team might be going. Like the Spurs are getting mocked Con Knippel in pretty much every mock draft, which means we're probably not taking Con Knippel. Up next, we got the Brooklyn Nets again via Milwaukee, taking Nolan Troyer. And by the way, looking at this draft, as we're going through this, look at all these teams' picks that traded. If you look at the back half of the first round after the lottery, almost no teams own their own picks. It's absolutely crazy. The Washington Wizards taking Danny Wolf at 19. Now, this is an interesting one to me because I've heard his name mentioned a lot on the channel, and I thought he was projected to go in the mid-20s. For him to jump up in the late teens, okay, and not see that coming, fair enough. Curious on where Rasheer Fleming's going to go, because that's a player I've talked about a lot on the channel recently, and he hasn't been drafted as of yet. OKC via the Clippers taking Carter Bryant. You got the Orlando Magic via, nobody owns their own pick. Orlando Magic, Asa Newell at 21. Wow. He's dropped a bit, at least per ESPN. I thought I saw him going much higher than this. I could be blanking, but I'm pretty sure Newell was going much higher than 21. All right, well, subjective, not objective. Utah Jazz take Hugo Gonzalez at 22. I'm not reading myself. Miami Heat, Ben Seraph. And as you can see, as we're still going through there's somebody that owns their own pick. The Indiana Pacers take Thomas Sorber. The Atlanta Hawks, again, the Hawks names start popping up a lot in this draft. Meek Clifford at 25. The Brooklyn Nets at 26 take Du Theoro. Sure. 27, the Brooklyn... What? Okay, I feel like I've seen the Nets a lot in here. I'm like, okay, having deja vu. The Brooklyn Nets at 27 take Yaxel Lendenberg. I'm sorry if I'm butchering these names. Walter Clayton Jr., okay, from Florida. They still have projected to be a first rounder now. I think I saw him before he had those two 30-point explosions mocked somewhere in the mid-50s. So to jump up into the first round, that is a huge accomplishment. So congratulations to him. Congratulations to Florida again. And they have him going to the current defending NBA champions, the Boston Celtics. Okay, not a bad place to go. The Phoenix Suns take Alex Condon at 29. And to round off the... Wow! I was just wondering where he is. They have him dropping to... I'm sorry, I'm cutting this off a little bit. ESPN has Rasheer Fleming going 30th to the Clippers. 30th. I've seen him mock somewhere usually between 16 and 20ish with, as a Spurs fan, with our second first round pick. If it drops around 16, I'm like, Rasheer Fleming at the 16th pick. Okay, I'm in. They have him going at... Okay, so for me, this is the biggest shocker of this mock draft. Seeing him drop that much. Okay. And that's it. They don't do the second round. This is just a first round mock draft. I normally share the links to articles. I'm not going to share this one because you have to have an ESPN Plus account. So I don't know how many people have one. I don't know if it's going to link to my account. I don't know what's going to happen with that. So I'm just going to, it's out there on ESPN Plus. All right. I'm going to throw it back at you guys. If you're a fan of, well, if you're watching this video, you're obviously a fan of one of those teams. But if you're a fan of one of the teams listed, or if you're a Spurs fan, are you surprised at all? Con Knippel's still constantly being mocked to the Spurs. Seems like everybody on the planet is saying they're going to take him. Of course, we don't know what the Spurs are going to do yet. So we'll wait and see in June. We also don't know what we're going to pick yet. And then if you're coming in as a fan of one of these teams, do you like who ESPN mocked you? Or are you looking at it like they're clueless? ESPN is clueless. They don't know my team. That is no way, shape, and form are we drafting that guy. ESPN, you suck. I'm very curious on your thoughts. And for those of you that have been following Rasheer Fleming with me, end of the first round, if he does drop that far, I wouldn't be opposed to the Spurs trying to take their second round pick and moving up and grabbing him. We need size. We desperately need size. We need shooting. We need size. He brings both. He's 6'9" with a 7'5" wingspan. I like what I've read about him. Apparently ESPN doesn't. We'll see what happens. The lottery results are a month from now, and then the NBA lottery's at the end of June. I'm excited. Hope you're excited. Comment, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Thank you, and as always, I'm going to close it like I always do. Go Spurs, go.
Go Spurs, go. 'Cause the Giants stink.